This is going to be a good one. I'm on it. All right, why don't we get this started right about
Hey, Alex.
what is up, everybody? Welcome to Comic Book Club. I'm Alex.
I'm Pete, and Justin's famous.
And Justin's famous. And we're coming to you live from a couple of places on the internet. We are live over on YouTube. We're live on Crowncast. Maybe you're listening to this later as an audio podcast on Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, wherever you listen to podcasts. It's all good. We appreciate you tuning in. And as mentioned, Justin has gone full on Hollywood Justin, and this is not a joke. Is it tonight? He's at a fancy Hollywood premiere?
Well, he flies out tonight. I think maybe. Yeah.
No, I think he's at the premiere.
Oh, right, because he's going to be hungover tomorrow when we do the tape.
Exactly. And this is, for anybody who's wondering, he is the star of the new movie Bullet Train with Brad Pitt. Justin has top billing, and then Brad Pitt's like right below him.
No, actually, he has his TV show out that he line produced and helped create.
Yes, just to be clear, because we're lying a lot here, Justin was supervising producer on a show called 101 Places to Party Before You Die, which is going to be on True TV this Thursday. Not to plug something for Justin here at the top of the show, but I'll say I've seen the first episode. It's very fun. I know I'm a little biased, but to be perfectly honest with you, Pete, can I be honest with you because Justin isn't here?
Yeah.
Like, my bias was like, well, prove it to me.
Oh, really?
You know, a little bit.
Justin TV
A little
show,
bit.
Like,
I was like,
arms
all right.
crossed.
Yeah, I know. So it stars John
Gabris,
who we're friends with. He's been on the show plenty of times.
Oh, yeah.
Also stars Adam Pally, who we had on our Marvel podcast. Very lovely guy.
Fun. He ripped
Justin,
into
of course, he ripped into me. You love that part.
Yeah.
And of course, Justin was supervising producer on it. So I should be biased in that direction, but there was a sense of like, I know I'm supposed to like this because I like them, so maybe I'm not going to like it. So we'll see what happens. Very funny. And in particular, like, if you have listened to Gabris or Adam Pally on our podcast or anywhere else, it's like straight up them. And I cannot believe the jokes they let them get away with on this TV show that's going to be broadcast. Like, great. And also, just very quickly to keep plugging it, the concept of the show is the two of them travel to places. First episode, they go to Denver and they just get messed up, drink a lot, party a lot, do the sights. So very fun. Again, that's going to be on Thursday, but Justin's out there for the premiere tonight, so he's not here at our show. But Pete, we're going to party until we die tonight, I think, right?
Yeah, exactly. Let's get crazy.
Let's get crazy because we have two great guests for you all tonight. We are going to bring in our first guest here. He is the author, among other things, of The Next Time I Die, which is out now from Hard Case Crime. Jason Starr, writer of books, writer of comics. Jason, welcome to the show. Whoa, weird echo. That was everybody going,
Jason Starr, Jason Starr.
Yeah. We did it.
Jason, I bring my own fans.
Oh, yes, you do. I guess we got a little bit of an echo there. It's all right. We'll figure it out. Thank you so much for coming. Thanks for doing the show. We appreciate it. Let's talk about this book, which has a wild and, in all honesty, I love this, like, very specific, clear concept right from the end of the first chapter. Do you want to pitch what the book is to the audience, if you don't mind?
The book's called, I happen to have a copy of it. It's called The Next Time I Die. And it's about do you still have an echo there?
Yeah, we do have an echo. If you have headphones, that might help, not to talk business right here at the top of the show. Here, I'll tell you what, while you're waiting for the headphones, I saw you signal off camera for them. How about I'll do the pitch for the book, and then you can tell me if I got it right. Does that sound good? So there's this guy at the beginning of the book. He's basically living his worst life. Everything's pretty terrible. He ends up in a scuffle in an alleyway and seemingly dies, but he wakes up in a hospital and finds himself not alive in his own body, not alive in the afterlife, but in fact alive in a potentially parallel universe version of his body. The parallel universe version of his body is not at all a very nice guy. And then he kind of has to solve the mystery and figure out a couple of things from there. Does that, did I nail that?
How about now?
Oh, perfect.
Right.
No echo.
There you go.
But more importantly, did I get the pitch right?
Yeah, it sounded good.
Okay,
right.
cool. Well, where did this concept come from? I mean, again, like, yeah, I love it because it's just a,
Did you?
nice, clean concept.
Is it
Oh,
true? You know,
yeah, it's a
did this
true
really
story.
happen to you?
No, most of my concepts just come from a situation. In this case, I wanted to do something different from my other books. I'm primarily known for psychological thrillers, crime fiction, and this one has a sci-fi twist. So I knew that in the second chapter, the book would head off into a wildly different direction. So it was much more high concept than anything I'd written before. And I've always been a big fan of Philip K. Dick and alternate reality stories and sci-fi. So I always wanted to find my way into writing that sort of story, and this was it.
Yeah. One of the other things that I love about it, just from the tone of the book, and of course this is true of most of the hard case crime stuff, is it's very like pulp fiction-y, noir, old school type storytelling, but with a sci-fi twist. What was it like taking those two things and putting them together?
Well, I think this is the sort of book that you could either read as a crime novel or a sci-fi novel, depending on how you want to view it, because it has this sci-fi trope and there's the premise, but it's at its heart. It's a psychological thriller and a crime novel.
Yeah. In all honesty, I've only read through the first couple of chapters so far. Does it delve more into sci-fi as it goes on, or did you really just use that as a window to get to like this twisted crime concept?
I definitely just used it as a way into the story. He winds up in this new reality. It's told in the first person. He's not necessarily a reliable narrator, so you're getting everything from his point of view. And then as the story progresses, you're just along for the ride, and you see everything from his point of view, and he's trying to unravel this mystery of the physical world, but there's also changes in his own psychology, and that's what I was going for, this balance of what's going on inside him and an alternate reality inside him, really, and an alternate reality in the world. So there's a bit of the killer inside me in this book.
Mm-hmm.
There's some Philip K. Dick influence, but it's that sort of story. Like if you like crime fiction or sci-fi fiction, you should find something you like in this.
Nice.
One thing that I always love to hear from mystery authors in particular, because everybody has kind of a different answer about it, is how do you structure a mystery? Do you start with the solution and kind of work backwards? Do you just set up the situation and go forward from there, let the characters guide you? Is it 50-50? How do you approach it?
Well, for me, I always have an outline that's pretty well thought out. There are some mystery writers who want to be surprised and don't have every detail worked out. I have like an evolving outline, and I always know where I'm going, like a beginning, middle, and end from the get-go. I don't know exactly where I'm going, so I always want to surprise myself a little bit.
Nice.
But the mystery is something that's always plotted out. I want the ending to always feel surprising yet inevitable. And sometimes it might read as if it's happening all fluidly and smoothly, but it takes a lot of work for me, at least as a writer.
Cool.
Some mystery writers, it might flow easily, but in this book in particular, I did many drafts. I don't know why, actually, but this is a book like I really wanted to get right, and I feel like the plot is deceptively complicated. It's a fairly short book. It's about 250 pages, but the plot is pretty complex.
This says, oh, go ahead, Pete.
I just wanted to ask, because you are rocking a really sweet Megadeth T-shirt. While you're writing, does music help you? Is that something that you kind of like put on the background while you're writing, or is it
Comic Book Live got a party.
Yeah,
party
all right. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, here we go. I got the Poland Spring and Megadeth. Sometimes I wouldn't listen to Megadeth. I'd probably have some jazz or something lighter. Yeah. Usually something without lyrics. The lyrics are a little distracting when I'm writing. I could write in a loud coffee bar with a lot of people talking, but music with lyrics would get a little distracting.
Okay, that makes sense.
The thing that I was going to say, there was a comment over on YouTube from John Dorsey who said, "Love the Megadeth shirt." So there you go. Kismet. Yeah. You nailed it, Pete. This, I believe, has already been optioned, right? What stage is that in at this point?
Or can you talk about that?
Yeah, I can't really talk about it too much, okay. But Gil Adler, who produced Valkyrie, Constantine, Superman Returns, Tales from the Crypt, like some TV, optioned it pretty early on. He read the book and he really responded to it, and we just made a deal. And there's going to be some more about this soon, but yeah, I was just very excited to work with him on it. I worked with him before on another project, and yeah, I think he has a good vision. We definitely see it as something for TV. It's just a feeling we both have that's how it worked best.
Cool. Well, congratulations. That's awesome news.
Yeah. I mean, particularly going for, I don't know how much people know your background, but you've done a couple of tie-ins to TV shows before. You did, I think, 2 Gotham novels, if that's correct.
Yeah, I wrote 2 Gotham novels that tie into the show. The first one is a prequel to the show. So actually, the last scene of the novel is the first scene of the TV show. So wow. Bruce Wayne's parents are characters. It's about Batman before his parents were killed. Wow. And the other one take place between season 2 and season 3. So it was tricky to get that to work because I had a very limited space. Yeah. Certain events happened at the end of season 2 is when Gordon was exiled from the Gotham police force.
Oh yeah, I remember.
And the monsters escaped. Yeah. And then what happened? It's called City of Monsters. Yeah.
I always find that,
and the other one was an Ant-Man novel that tied into the movie.
I always find that stuff, these licensed properties like this that are sort of weaving between the existing continuity, so fascinating because how do you structure a character arc for something like that? Like, you're writing about Gordon between season 2 and season 3. You know where he ended up in season 2. You know where he's starting in season 3. But you're still writing a book that has to have narrative flow and arc and, you know, a throbbing heart to it. So how do you embrace something like that?
It's hard.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure how I was able to do it. Yeah, because, well, first of all, you have to know the characters really well. The attitude of the characters, the way they speak. And then you do have that limited space. You have to have a plot that is going to make sense within the confines of that space. And we had to get everything approved by the writers of the show. So not only did I have to create a plot that the editor liked, then the writers were chiming in. So there's a lot of notes about the whole thing, and they were very concerned that I would have like a spoiler of something that happened in the next season. Yeah. I think that was their primary concern.
So what is it like, just to bring the two threads together, to go from writing these licensed properties to now having a book that you created on your own, potentially heading to TV?
It's a different set of challenges. In the Gotham books, the world already existed. this one in particular, The Next Time I Die, required a lot of world building. That's something I haven't done much of in my own books, like creating another world. I wrote 2 books, 2 urban fantasy novels, The Pack and The Craving, that were about werewolves in New York, where I also had to do some world building. But in this book, I really had to dig deep into the world building, the alternate realities, and but as far as like getting it adapted, I always have an attitude that the book exists in itself, and a TV show or movie or whatever it becomes is really a different entity, and there's always going to be changes, and I'm always open to changes that make sense dramatically and that work well in that other medium, because what works well as a book might necessarily work as a TV show. And
Sure, yeah.
and from creating comics, I know that like what works as a comic wouldn't necessarily work as a novel.
Yeah. Other than this, which is on book stands now, what else can people check out from you, or what else do you want to plug that's coming down the road?
Well, my recent comics were Red Border and Casual Fling from AWA Upshot, and they're both available in stores. But yeah, the main thing I've been promoting is Next Time I Die, and I'm working on a new psychological thriller and a couple of other TV projects based on my work. Besides the Next Time I Die has been taking up a lot of some of my time.
Yeah, I can imagine. Well, it's awesome. Congratulations
Yeah,
on
congrats.
it. Fingers crossed. Hoping to see it on TV sometime soon. Thanks so much for coming out, and have a
Yeah,
good
really
night.
appreciate it.
Okay, thanks for having me on.
Yeah.
All right. Once again, that was Jason Starr. The book is called The Next Time I Die. It's available right now from Hard Case Crime. Like I said, it is super fun, at least what I was able to read so far. But why don't we bring in our next guest here? He is the creator of Eden, a new book that is going to be in comic shops everywhere on July 20th and then bookstores everywhere on August 16th. I believe it's both from Comixology and also from Dark Horse Comics. And it's super cool and trippy in a totally different way from the last book we're talking about. So I'm very excited to get into this one. But Pete, in the meantime, how are you doing? How's everything going?
Oh, I'm hanging in there. I'm just, I'm worried. I'm wondering what Justin's going to be rocking right now. I'm hoping he's wearing.
Oh, what he's wearing?
Yeah, like the tuxedo where he got killed in Lock and Key. I think that would be fun for people to see. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Do you think a boulder would fall down at the premiere and land on him if he wore that, though?
Oh, it'd be great if it was one of those fake Indiana Jones boulders.
Oh,
because he's got a family.
Very cool. That would be cool, but sad, I guess, is the main takeaway there. We should here. I'm gonna
kick him out and then reinvite him.
Yeah, kick him out and bring him back in again. Thank you for explaining what I was about to do. Appreciate it.
Sure.
Yeah. But here we go. We'll try that one more time. See if that works. I love this platform, man. Works so well. Oh, there we go. Here it is. Hello. How are you, Matthew? Thank you for coming in.
Good. I wish I had a cool name like Jason Starr.
Yeah, right.
Man. Matthew Arnold is pretty good.
So, if you look at Matthew Arnold, you'll get a romantic poet. So it's it's hard to be in that shadow. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you got 2 first names, so that's pretty sweet as well.
Yeah, that's always great when people call you, hey Arnold. It's
well, cool. Thanks so much for coming on the show. I do really love this book. Just to get the details correct, it's available on Comixology now, but going to be in stores from Dark Horse Comics, comic book stores on July 20th, bookstores on August 16th. Did I get all the details correct?
All right. Yeah.
All right. Awesome.
I got my dates wrong. I foolishly walked into a comic book store today and said, "Hi, I'd like to see that Eden book." And they said, "Well, that's not here until August." And I said, "Okay, bye."
Oh, no.
I was all excited to go in and get my book.
Sure, I bet.
They were like, "Yeah, I gotta wait, buddy." So,
all right, that's fine. You're camped outside right now, right? Like you're outside.
I'm gonna set a tent out there and just wait. Be the first guy to get my own book. That's
there
really cool.
Well, the book is really cool, though. It is a super fun concept. I don't know, given that it's out on Comixology but not out in bookstores, I don't know how much you want to talk about the minutia of it. Do you want to, how do you pitch the basic concept? Because I know what happens over the course of it, but I don't want to spoil anything you don't want me to spoil.
Yeah, don't spoil, because it's obviously there's a lot of twists and turns in the books and a lot of surprises. But basically the idea is that in the near future, they decide to cryogenically freeze prisoners instead of lock them up in cages, which is something that in that time seems more humane to some people. And it's about a senator who's kind of railing against that system, and her husband, who get wrongfully convicted of killing their child and are sentenced into the cryogenic prison. And the story sort of opens as a prison break is going on, and her and her husband are released out of the prison, and they make a break for it with a bunch of the other criminals, only to find that it's been hundreds of thousands of years in the future. The only people left alive on the planet are the criminals in these cryogenic prisons. So she has to figure out how to start society with the worst of society. And that's what's kind of fun about it, is sort of how do you build a world when the people that you're starting with are such devious criminals, and can she rally them together to build a better world than the one she left?
It struck me while I was reading it, at least in the first part, again, without getting into spoilers or anything, it's almost like a little bit of Demolition Man, a little bit of Lost, a little bit of The 100 going on there. Were those any of the things you were calling on? Were there additional things you were kind of figuring out as you were putting the story together?
Yeah, absolutely. I creatively and professionally, I can never get away from Lost, because it's such a huge influence on pretty much anyone that's in television. That show just broke so many boundaries and just showed people what a cool mystery television show could be, and how creative the writing could be, and the fun mysteries and twists and plot turns and character stuff. So, I mean, I could try to run from it and hide and pretend like that's not an influence, but it's such a strong influence. So I love stories where you get this sort of blank canvas, the way Lost did, of sort of world building and character stories and ensemble. And I think those are the elements that were culled from my experience loving shows like Lost. But the Hundred's also, a piece of that. And the idea, though, really came out of, the book was born during the pandemic, and not being able to do my normal thing, which is come up with TV shows and pitch them. Everything was on hold. But, it also was sort of born out of a questioning of the justice system. Like, what's going on with our justice system? Is it fair? Is it not? How do we return people to society after they've done something? Does someone come out of prison and they've paid their debt, and we go, oh great, you're fine, come over to dinner, and let's just forget it all? Or we always treat someone like they're wrong or bad. Like, is there forgiveness in this world? Do we have that capacity? And is there another method by which we could find out if you were truly rehabilitated? All these questions and all these concerns that I had about the justice system during the pandemic, all those things that were really top of mind, can be found in the broader, thematic context of the book. And I think when people read that, they'll see that there's a question that I'm trying to answer about society in the book, and trying to understand people and human nature.
So you mentioned pitching TV shows. Did this start as a TV pitch before it was a comic book, or was it always going to be a comic book?
My brain naturally comes up with stories that are, related to television and film. And I come up with usually big stories with a lot of character stuff and a lot of twists and turns. That's just how I think when I get inspired by an idea. But then I ask myself, what's the best format? Sometimes I have an idea and I go, well, it really feels like a film. I've had ideas before that I thought were comic books, but I had no experience. I didn't know how to do a comic book or start a comic book. But I had a really good friend named Chip Mosier, you guys probably know.
Yeah.
And I had met Chip very early on in my career. My very first thing I did was I was adapting a Guy Davis novel. It was like my first, gig out of film school. And Chip was working at Oni Press at the time. And when I had this idea for Eden, I was trying to figure out what the best format for it was. And I thought, it's so visual. It's so big. It's gonna be hard to set up just as a TV show without a piece of IP. And maybe I should, avail myself of this opportunity, this downtime, to create a book. So I called the only guy I really knew that really did that was Chip. And I said, I got an idea, Chip. I want to do this as a book. And he said, well, send me the one pager. And he said, I love this one pager. I want to make this book. And I said, wow, that's great. So that's how this all started. Was I realized it was probably better suited as a book. I just didn't know how to do it. And thankfully I knew Chip, so he knew how to do it. And there we go.
We talk about this a lot on the show. We'll obviously read a lot of books, and we'll sometimes read things where it's like, oh, this is a movie pitch. This is a TV pitch. They didn't mean this to be a comic. They're just putting this down on the page to be this other thing. Reading this, I almost had the converse experience where I read it and I was like, this is like 5 seasons of a TV show compressed into one graphic novel. And it was a great experience reading it, but it was so stressful because so many things happen at such an insane pace over it. That's why, to me, it worked as a comic book. That all said, what was it actually like writing that? Because it feels like there's times when you could kind of see, okay, this issue, that's this person's episode, 1 hour episode of television. Instead, you're compressing it down to 20 pages.
Well, thank you for saying what you said, because I wanted to abandon my typical sort of television format. I think in terms of the panels, there's something very filmic about it, just because of the way that I think of angles and what I described to Riccardo Bertorelli, our incredible artist. So I think there's something filmic about it. But in terms of story progression, I just had this story I wanted to tell, and I wanted to tell all of it. And if you were just sort of trying to use this as a pitch or as leverage to get a TV show, you might just throw the ideas down there enough to kind of trigger someone to pick it up and adapt it. But I said, no, I want to tell the whole story here. I knew where it was going. I knew I wanted to, delve into the backstory of some of these characters so that they were a little richer than just flatness. And I'm not giving much away to say that we bounce back into people's lives before they were incarcerated a little bit, which sheds light on who they are. And I love how characters evolve a little, where you get like a moment of them in the main story and you go, I wonder what that guy is like, or what that woman's like, and you find out who they were, and you might be like vastly surprised by their life.
Yeah.
That's my mom calling.
Tell her I said hello.
That's one of you guys, because I don't have a home line.
Yeah, I think that's Pete. Pete couldn't disconnect his phone.
Yeah,
it's your buddy calling from the premiere to make that comment about the boulder. He's not about that.
I have the phone in the corner of the room underneath the pillow. I thought that would do it, but apparently it's not how things
That's
work.
Right. What if it's an emergency, Pete? What if somebody's calling you about an emergency?
I think it can wait a couple hours until we're done with the show.
All right, fair enough. I mean, just to get back to it though, I'll just pay you another compliment just in terms of the pace. That I know I was saying it's stressful, but it escalates so quickly. Everything that happens in the book, it's great. It's just very action packed, but you don't really forget about the emotions of the characters and the central mystery and everything. So again, really love that it works as a graphic novel, even though reading it, I could see it so clearly watching it on screen over the course of 3, 4, or 5 seasons or whatever.
Well, that might come from my childhood attention deficit issue. I just need a lot of stuff to happen all the time, or I get bored in a book. I don't have the patience to take my time. And, graphic novels are great for that, because a picture does say those 1,000 words I need it to. So, yeah, I did accelerate through a lot of the story because there's so much I wanted to say. And the comment I get the most about it is how many twists and turns. And just when you think you kind of know where the story's going, there's another twist that surprises you. And that makes me really proud, because I personally love a story that does that. I love to be engrossed and not, feel like I'm going to miss something. And you get a twist, you go, I can't stop now. I got to read the next 3 pages to see there's another. Okay, now I'm going to have to read a few more. So that was the goal for me. And, I am getting that from people, so I feel like I accomplished what I was trying to do with the book.
So we've talked to a couple of comiXology creatives, I guess that's a poor way of putting it, but people that have done books for comiXology. You obviously had it up on this digital platform, and now it's going to be published in print. What's changed, if anything, from the digital format to the print format, or is it really just it's going to be on the physical pages, and that's the only thing that's going to be different about the collected edition?
Well, literally nothing. Typically, I know when Comixology does stuff, they wanted to create panels so that you can move quickly through that digital, window that they have. When we designed the book, we already knew that Dark Horse was going to do a print version of it. So when I designed the book with Ricardo, I said, design it as a paper book. Don't worry about how well the Comixology software handles it. Let them figure that part out. Let's just make the coolest looking book, in pages and experience. And you'll see there's a little bit of avant-garde, decisions in the way that we use some of the pages and some of those full black pages that we have that are kind of cool and creepy, and the way that we did that. And so I just kind of gave him free rein to really just play with the page and make it as impactful as possible. So we weren't hemmed into the typical Comixology stuff, probably to their dismay in some regards. But I just felt like the book needed to really explore its boundaries and be a little bit creative and avant-garde, not just go with all the typical squares, that you would.
Well, I do think, to be honest, and not to keep big upping you, but there's been a lot of mixed reactions to the Comixology experience over the past couple of months. I think they've improved it on the back end, if I remember correctly, but this was definitely one of the better reading experiences that I've had through Comixology recently. And I think that's down to the art, like you're saying, which is so clear. The characters are so clear. The panels are big and nice. So it's very easy to flip through it. And I assume probably easier in the printed edition, but just mentioning for anybody listening who might want to pick it up on Comixology.
Yeah, I got my proof copy just a little while ago.
Ooh, nice.
Really pretty. So I was really
wow.
The colors were just really just blasting and beautiful.
Why are you going to sleep out at the store for a month then? You got a copy right there. You're good.
You gotta buy one to act like there was this massive demand every day.
I feel like if
every day.
I feel like if
come
I
back
had
with a mustache,
I would I would go and just like read it. I'll be like, oh man, this is hilarious. Oh, I love this book. What's the name of it again? Oh, this is
call
great.
it every day under different names and ask them if they have any in stock, and make sure I do that to every bookstore in my neighborhood so that they just stock it up. Yeah. That's the way to go.
Well, that all said, now that you do have this proof of concept version, is it something that you are thinking about maybe trying to pitch around as well to TV or movies or anything like that?
Well, I will tell you that we may have some very big news about that coming down the pike soon. I can't say anything just yet, but we will likely have something really cool to announce very shortly. And I wish I could do it here, but I was told I'm not allowed to. Really.
All right, fair enough. Maybe there's some sort of
the first rule of comic book adaptations is you do not talk about comic book adaptations, right?
There you go. Well, that all said, you did this, like you were saying, over the pandemic, but now that you have done a comic book, do you feel like you would want to do this experience again? Or you're like, no, I did that. That's the rearview mirror. I can move back to TV. Where's your head at with that?
No, I love it. I mean, I got to tell you, for a guy who writes television and film and stuff, it was so freeing to do this, to do a comic book and to know that I didn't have to follow some of the same rules that you have to follow in television and film. And then just visually to describe the panels was such a wonderful experience because it was like directing the show. Mm-hmm. And, typically as a writer, you don't get to do that. What you're trying to do is the opposite, is you're trying to suggest things, allow a director to have their say on the visuals of it. But here I was actually, picking the frames, picking the shots. I found it very rewarding. I'm already talking to Comixology about my next one, which is a big project, sort of a magnum opus kind of, five graphic novel series that I've been planning for years and years as my Star Wars or something, but it's a big story that I've been trying to tell for a long time. And I've realized that the best format to tell it is going to be as graphic novels and comics. I get the visual stuff I want to do and the story and everything else. So I'm actively trying to go do my next one. So I loved it. Great experience.
I'd love to hear that. Love that you've joined the tribe here, joined our comic book tribe. Really appreciate it. Yes. Well, Matthew, congratulations on the book. It is awesome. Everybody should go pick it up, and looking forward to whatever the big news is coming down the pike.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I'm sure I'll see you at Comic-Con.
All right, cool.
Bye, Matthew.
Take care.
Take care.
All right. Once again, that book is called Eden. As mentioned, it's out now on Comixology, or you'll be able to get the print version, which looks awesome just based on watching him flip through it. That's going to be in comic shops on July 20th or bookstores everywhere on August 16th.
Just in time for Comic-Con.
There you go. We'll be camped out right now, though, right? We're going to start that Whisper campaign we were talking about.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. All right. Why don't we move on to our next section, which is my favorite section because you all make it up. It is your audience questions. And for audience questions, all you got to do is drop a question and ask a question, or over in the YouTube comments. We'll keep an eye on that. But first, let's talk about what we're drinking. Now, as frequent listeners of the show will know, Brett Macris, a.k.a. Stray Bullet.
Stray Bullies.
Yeah, there you go. Should I stop pausing? Do you like interrupting me? I don't know.
Yes, I do.
Oh,
very
you like
much.
interrupting. Okay.
Yeah,
it throws me, though, so I like to put the pause in there. But Stray Bullet, the official CBC chef, has been curating drinks for us. He did one this week from the Gotham cocktail book, Birds of a Feather? Birds of Prey? I think it's Birds of a Feather, but it is a Harley Quinn drink. Put the cherries briefly back in here. It's very nice. I use some red cherries instead of the black cherries you're supposed to use.
Oh, you're supposed to use black cherries, man. Come on.
Well, not black cherries, but Amarena cherries, which are like a little more soaked. I only had maraschinos on hand. But it's basically like a cherry martini, so I'm going to get schnockered by the end of the show, Pete.
Yeah. Speaking of schnockered, I had a giant glass of vodka that I'm just down to this part here, so I'm a little worried.
Pure vodka?
Well, it was vodka and soda.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But I was.
What was the ratio?
Well, I poured it. I like to do kind of like 60-40, maybe 70-30.
In which direction? Which is the larger
vodka?
One? Oh my God.
Direction. And so I just thought, I'll just make a huge one, and that way I won't have to go and get one in between one. So it's so it's a little it's really hot in here, and I kind of went through a lot of it, so I'm a little worried.
Oh my God.
How the rest of the show's going to go.
Yeah, next show we're probably going to have your liver on as a guest because it's going to leave your body.
Sweet.
Jesus. All right, why don't we move to some questions before you die, Pete? This is from Stray Bullet. I'm working on a new apron. What character should I go with? Also, I want to take the Secret Punisher quiz.
Oh, wow.
Are you ready to do that, or are you too whiz-knackered?
Yeah, we just got to figure out where we left off last time.
We could probably do that together. We're going to bring in Brett here on screen. For those of you who have been listening frequently, you know that Pete has a second Secret Punisher quiz that's been going on that he's been running. I can't believe this is happening. But we've made it, I think, 6 or 7 questions in, something like that. So we're going to bring Brett on screen, and he's going to take the Secret Punisher quiz. Should be fun times. See what happens. And maybe we could talk to him about the other thing to set up while he's coming in here. Hey, there you go. He makes his own apron.
Hey, what's up?
Super awesome. Brett, hello.
You can hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Spider.
Okay, good. Oh, yeah. I love this. I love this shirt.
Real quick, let's figure out what apron you should make. What apron? So,
all
Venom.
right.
Venom.
I'm working on one right. I can't pull it out of the. This is actually my.
Ooh, look at that sewing machine. Nice.
Yeah.
Look at that.
A little Lego Batman on there.
Awesome.
But I am. So during the pandemic, I pretty much stopped sewing.
Mm-hmm.
So I owe a lot of people some aprons. But
so you're
I'm gonna make
backlogged.
another one for myself too. Oh, I am very backlogged. Ask Jolene.
Oh, poor Jolene.
Yeah. What? So you made a Cypher one for me. You made a Punisher one for Pete, and was it a Starman one for Justin?
Starman.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they're awesome.
And Kevin got one.
I made multiple.
Yeah.
Kevin got
Gwenpool.
I dropped it off for him.
Ooh, Gwenpool. Yes, Kevin says Gwenpool. Ben the Border Collie has a good suggestion. Mighty Thor or possibly Dr. Jane Foster apron, which I think is just a lab coat.
Ooh.
But all right.
That's pretty much lab coat.
Yeah, but Mighty Thor might be good. Or you could do Gore the God Butcher's apron.
Yeah. Just a messy, white, dirty, gray, ashy.
There you go.
I mean,
I think you should do a Venom one.
I have. I've already done it.
There you go.
Oh,
Bad suggestion,
I've
Pete.
done-
wow.
2 Deadpools. I've done Venom. I've done Spider-Man. I've done Captain Marvel for my wife. I did an R2-D2 apron that almost killed me.
Oh, no.
I've done Galactus. I did Ghost Rider.
Oh my God,
Robbie Reyes
Ghost
Ghost Rider. That was
Ooh, what about
That was amazing.
Kevin says Miss Marvel? Have you done Miss Marvel?
no, I haven't, but that's a good idea.
That is
Yeah,
a good
that's
idea.
a good
All right,
one.
shall we do this Punisher
Miss
quiz?
Marvel's a good idea.
Pete?
All right, great.
Sure.
We'll pick up where we
Let's do it.
left off with question number 6. All right.
Okay.
What Punisher title did Chuck Dixon write in 1993? Is it A, The Punisher Back to School Special, B, Marvel Knights, or C, The Punisher, A Man Named Frank?
Say B. I'm gonna assume.
Nope.
No, it's fucking A. I knew it was gonna be A.
Oh man! All right, do we
But
need
the
to pick that
Back
up?
to School Special sounds so dumb.
It does. That's why
sorry.
it's a cool.
It's a trick. Oh
I
man!
know.
All right, I guess we'll pick up with that one next time. Is
Sorry,
that what's
Alex.
going on, Pete?
Yep.
All right, thanks, Brett. Good luck out there.
Sorry.
Delicious drink. Good
Bye, guys.
choice this evening.
Yeah.
Thank
much
you.
love. Much love.
All right. There we go. Why don't we move on with another question there before I can see Pete is losing it. Edward Doherty says, I've been watching a lot of cartoonist KFAB as they read old Wizard magazine issues. What are your memories of Wizard?
Well, it just brings me back to a happier time, you know. I just remember, picking them up, reading them, and they were like a big deal. We did like a couple interviews, which was great. And, that's what makes me think of.
Wait, you did interviews with Wizard magazine?
No, we interviewed people who write stuff for Wizard magazine.
Oh, okay. That's right. I never really read Wizard. Strangely, I don't know. It was one of those things that was always in comic shops, and I was like, "Huh, that looks interesting." And then I just walk by it and get more packs of Marvel trading cards.
Huh. You're an interesting cat, I tell you
I
what.
am. Thank you. Well, there you go. So not a lot of memories. Bad answer to that question. We got
you
one.
don't remember like just the booths and stuff at Comic-Con and
Wizard. I remember Wizard cons. Like I've been to Wizard cons, but like not. I don't know. That's not Wizard back in the day. Wizard back in the day is like Jim Lee on the cover, posing and being like the biggest man in comics, the king of San Diego himself.
That's right.
Yes. But I've also met various people who wrote for Wizard since then, and I always feel bad. I'm like,
But
wow, that's really
you don't-
cool.
Yeah, exactly. It's cool.
It is cool.
It was this thing that was really cool for a while.
Apparently, it was a terrible place to work. So there
no.
you go. This is from Nat Townsend. Do you guys have some favorite historical fiction comics, ones that don't feel like a textbook? Sorry to put you on the spot during your comic book talk show.
You
First
love
of all-
doing this shit. I
First
don't know
of all,
why.
come on, Nat.
he-
Stop asking questions.
He does these gotcha questions that are too hard, and I don't. What the fuck? Historical what?
Historical comic wise, the first thing that comes to mind is Fred Van Lente and Ryan Dunleavy's comic book history comics, which I absolutely love. They're ones that don't feel like textbooks. They are super fun and funny and smart and well done while very informative at the same time. I've given, if you have kids and you're listening to the podcast, they've done a couple of ones about American presidents and philosophers that are both kid friendly. They did one, the comic book history of comics, that just came out. That's so good. And comic book history
Every
of
issue's
animation, also very good.
Yeah, the animation one was great.
So all of that stuff, highly recommend. I'm
They
sure
had
there's more
this
stuff
panel
out there.
that showed a rotating like house that they worked in that always was catching sunlight so they could keep working. It was bananas.
Yeah, pretty cool stuff. So there you go. Hope that helps. I actually have a question we got on a DM on Twitter that I'm going to share. Well, hold on. There's a reason for it. This is from
what do you-
Andrew. What?
What are you doing with the Twitter, man? It makes me a little worried about you and your
DMs on Twitter. This is not like somebody didn't
Your
ask me
min-
on. Yeah.
You
Somebody slid into my DMs on Bumble and asked me a question for it. No, this is a DM on Twitter to our @comicbooklive account. Calm down.
All right,
This
well,
one-
say it like that. Don't be a fucking douche about it. Like, hey, I'm just going to read some DMs here.
That is 100% not what I sounded like.
It's exactly. It was. If you play it back, it sounds like you're like.
I feel like this
talking?
is the 50% vodka talking, Pete. Andrew Softly says, "Hi, guys. Niche question time from a big fan in the UK with a young daughter, so unable to stay up for the live show to add to audience questions. Do you have any recommendations of a good comic book run or graphic novel about or heavily featuring birds?" So if you thought Nat was being niche and difficult asking about historical comic books, what are some good comic books featuring birds?
Well, the problem is the first thing I think of is the Lock and Key issue where they turned into birds and it was almost like a Calvin
Sparrow,
or Hobbes thing. But if this is for his daughter, that's a serious, like, I don't know if you want to go down that road because of all the scary stuff.
I don't know if he was asking for her or for him. It wasn't 100% clear. But
Yeah.
adult-wise, 100% Lock and Key Sparrow. That's an incredible issue. I'd also throw out, there was a recent book called An Unkindness of Ravens by Dan Panosian.
Oh, yeah.
That's real good. Not that many ravens in it, but there's certainly some birds going on there. We also got some suggestions of Murder Falcon and Hawk and Dove. Kevin mentions they did some Angry Birds comics. There's also, if this is for a kid, the big one that I recommend is Owly, which is an all-ages comic about an owl that's super fun.
Owly is awesome.
And Nat Townsend, who's being a total asshole here, says, "Have you read Audubon?" Yeah, we've read Audubon magazine, Nat. Thank you so much. Jesus, that's not a comic book.
Trying to think of more bird stuff.
Nat says, "No, it's in a comic."
Oh wait,
dick.
remember Little Bird? That's a great comic.
That is a really good one. Also, not for kids necessarily, but and
true.
not a lot of birds. But
Well, no, I mean, like they pose as birds when they go on a killing spree.
that's right, just like real birds.
Yeah.
This one is for Kevin. What are high concepts you've seen dozens of times in fiction but never get tired of? Great question.
Never get tired of.
I mean, this is not a high concept, but the first thing I thought of here, like, I am 100% a sucker for anything with a spaceship, which is stupid, but any TV show that has spaceships and space stuff in, my bar is way lowered for whatever is happening in that TV show.
Really?
I am far more likely to watch it if it has a spaceship or space stuff.
Huh.
Yeah.
That is weird.
Yeah. Probably because of that whole Star Wars, Star Trek thing that I grew up with, but could be another reason. Maybe.
Spaceballs, I mean, that was a huge one.
Yeah, that was a huge one. But what are some tropes? Fiction
I
tropes?
never get tired of the kind of like, this isn't exactly what you're talking about, but the kind of like little guy winning in the end, the kind of triumph story that I never get tired of, and also just a quality rom-com. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Never.
Can I throw out a couple for you, Pete, and you tell me if I'm wrong?
Sure.
One is the classic Lone Wolf and Cub, where you got like a silent badass and a little kid.
Yeah.
Right? You love that.
The silent badass is just.
You also
something.
love the good old man Logan, where he's like, "I'm not going to pop my claws. I don't do that anymore." And then he pops his claws.
Yeah, but after it's really
after like a while. That's what I'm saying. But you love that.
It's earned, though.
You love that.
Yeah.
And then I think these are all variations on Wolverine tropes. Actually, this one isn't. But you also love a badass grandma.
Yeah, yeah.
There
Fun
you go.
fish out of water stuff. You know what I mean?
Whether it's a badass old guy or a badass grandma, as long as they're old and badass, you are.
As long as
there.
they're badass and kind of go against the type a little bit, I'm in it.
Yeah. This is from John Dorsey over on YouTube. Gentlemen, what are your all-time 3 favorite covers? I assume he's not talking about cover songs, but covers of comic books.
Well, you probably saw the Megadeth T-shirt, and it was like, all-time favorite covers.
I mean, one I'll throw out that I think about all the time, I don't know if it's favorite so much as it haunts me to this very day, is the West Coast Avengers issue with Master Pandemonium turning the Scarlet Witch's kids into his arms. It's art by John Byrne, and basically it was the issue where I think the issue after they revealed that the Scarlet Witch's kids weren't real and were actually parts of Master Pandemonium's Starr soul that he was trying to complete so he could take over hell or something. And it's just him sucking the children back into their arms. It's this classic, distorted, wrinkly John Byrne children. Very upsetting.
Yeah, I mean, there's like artists that I love that just, there was like the Wolverine run where he kind of got, manipulated and he went like kind of through everybody and killed a bunch of people. Mark Silvestri did like a really interesting kind of run of covers for that. That was like really amazing. Any like Chris Samney kind of like I think when he was doing kind of like Daredevil, there were some really amazing covers there. Tim Sales like did like a bunch of Batman covers that were just absolutely magical.
I throw out I never think about this one because the content of the book is kind of whatever, but New Avengers #1 is iconic. The thing of just like the team in shadow with the lightning crashing behind them. That's a cool book. That's a cool book. That's a cool cover that they've repeated a bunch of times. That's very awesome.
Also,
go ahead.
There was also this like unbelievable Punisher thing where you kind of see New York City and it's a giant Punisher figure and like his shadow is casting over the city. And for Central Park, it's just the skull kind of thing. Oh, it was really cool.
What about Wolverine #1 with him popping the claws and just like doing the beckoning finger?
Well, yeah, I mean that's the old oh my god, I can't believe it, old Blue Eyes cover, because Frank had a album cover, and that is a kind of an homage to that. They're both doing the same thing, so Wolverine has claws.
All right, there we go. Well, there's a couple.
Also, the Wolverine one where you can like he's like this, and in the blades you can see the Hulk. That one's really good.
Yeah. We got a topical question from Nelson Martinez on YouTube. Have you guys seen any of the Emmy nominations so far? If so, any shows you're pulling for, or any actors, actresses in general for any specific roles? Now, I mentioned before the show, I was joking with Pete that we should open up being angry that we got snubbed for the Emmys once again. Pete was like, what's going on with the Emmys? So it didn't seem like a good bit.
We're not a TV show, so what the fuck are you talking about?
That's a good reason for us to be snubbed for the Emmys. That's all I'm saying.
But the good news is old JT Sizz, the classically trained actor and line producer extraordinaire, just kind of is entering, he's going to be ready for next season.
He could be nominated for an Emmy. It absolutely could happen.
That's right.
Yeah.
One of the best line producers around.
That said, Pete, because of that, you're probably not familiar with the Emmy nominations, right? I did tell you Ted Lasso got 20 nominations. You're pretty excited about that. Yeah.
That's so great.
Yes.
Very excited.
I was excited. Who do you think from the cast, if you had to guess, what would be the wildest cast nomination? Like, obviously Jason Sudeikis, obviously Hannah Waddingham. But if you had to throw out one guess of
want Beard, Coach Beard to get it. You know what I mean?
Sure. Do you know who got nominated, though? This is going to blow your mind.
Who?
Trent Crimm.
Yes. Yeah. Trent Crimm.
Trent Crimm.
Yeah. Just
from The Independent, got nominated for an Emmy. I love it.
Now he's just Trent Crimm Independent. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because, I'm excited to see what he's coming out with next season.
Yes. Ted Lasso was great. I know people have really turned against the show, but I was excited to see all the nominations for The White Lotus, a show that I loved, though there was this absolutely insane thing where I think it was supporting actress. 5 of the 7 nominations were The White Lotus, and the other 2 nominations were like Dope Sick or something. And everyone was like, watch other TV shows. What are you doing? So there was that. I was not surprised, but a little bummed about the Stranger Things acting lack of acting nominations. Sadie Sink didn't get anything, which was a huge bummer. But I think like they released the show too late and they were looking at it for technical nominations anyway. What was the other one that I was excited about?
Barry?
Barry got a ton of nominations, so that's cool.
What an amazing.
I was excited. Killing Eve only got 2 nominations for Jodie Comer and Sandra Oh, which is correct. The final season was kind of mixed, but they killed it throughout, so that was good to see.
Sandra Oh is great every time you see her.
On the more like geek friendly front, Arcane, the animated series on Netflix, got a bunch of nominations, which I thought was very cool because that's a cool different show, so that was fun to see. And on the Marvel bent, it was mostly a lot of technical stuff, but they got a ton of technical nominations, so believe for them on that.
You're telling me freaking what's his face who's in the Black Phone didn't get nominated for anything?
Ethan Hawke?
Yeah.
No, I don't think there were any acting nominations for Marvel.
Man, the Hawk killed that though. He came up with the glass bit.
He did that for real. He cut the shit out of his feet.
No, but it was his idea to have his character do that.
Oh man, that's great. That's really cool. Oh, here's the one that I was most excited about. Rhea Seehorn finally got nominated for an Emmy for Better Call Saul, which is like 6 seasons too late, but I'm glad they finally did it. So that's good. So there you go. Nat Townsend says, wait, I thought Moon Knight came out this year. Yes, the cutoff for Emmys, I believe, is May 31st. So anything that did 5 episodes or more before May 31st can be nominated, which is why they split Stranger Things the way they did. They wanted to make sure to get at least 5 episodes out there so that they could get nominated for the Emmys. It didn't quite work out for them. Nat says Oscar Isaac gets snubbed. Counterpoint, maybe he didn't.
Oh, come on, dude. Are you serious? All the different characters he played, it was amazing.
Yeah, it was fine. It was all fine.
You, man.
I think none of the Marvel stuff since WandaVision has broken through in the critical discourse in the same way. And obviously we love it here, but...
We do love it here, you asshole.
We do love it here.
Fucking unbelievable.
Yes. Nat saying when he switched from Mark to Steven for the first time in all one shot, that was so good. But counterpoint, so was Sydney Sweeney in Euphoria. Why don't we go to one of Nat Townsend's last questions here. I think we have 2 more questions, one from each. Nat says, I have a bunch of random comics that I've accumulated throughout the years, not ones I need to hold on to, but they're not necessarily appropriate for kids either. What should I do with them so they don't end up in the recycling?
First off, comics should never end in the recycling. Are you out of your fucking mind? You could donate them?
Yeah, you're right. They go right in the garbage.
Oh my God. What kind of show? Come on, man. Have a little respect for what we do here a little bit. I mean, come on. Is that too hard?
More like a garbage book club. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, you're a piece of shit, man. I've said that for years. So listen, there's a lot of things you can do with those comics. You know, you can take it to a shop or something and, you know, maybe get some money for it or some credit. You can donate to a library. There's a lot of different places that you can go that are going to want those things. Don't be selfish and just kind of ruin and not give somebody a chance to read something that you thought was good enough to buy.
Yeah, the big thing that I'd recommend, and I don't know if they're taking donations again, but don't take them to the library, but check with your local library first, because libraries would take donations pre-pandemic. I don't know if they're back to that level yet, but you can certainly bring them over there and see if they take it. Or they may know of services you can take it to, just to sort of distribute from there. The other thing you can do is just, depending on where you live, like when I have donation stuff, I just put it out on my stoop and then it's gone in like an hour. So yeah, there you go.
Or if you do a live show, you can put some stuff that you think people like in little bundles and kind of give it to them.
Yeah, that doesn't happen anymore though, Pete.
Yeah.
Sad times.
It used to.
We got one last question. This is a businessy question over on YouTube from The Big. Hey guys, just wondering what's up with the Minute Media before the podcast. New sponsor? This is something that's actually been over a year now, I think, at this point. Minute Media is actually the folks who host our fine podcast. We are financially independent. I don't know how you described it. We still own the podcast and everything, but they've been super cool to us. They set up the hosting service. They take care of that. They take a little cut of any ads that run, but they also give us a nice chunk of change from that as well, which we really appreciate. And they've given us a little support in other ways as well. So that's what's going on with Minute Media. In exchange, they asked us, and this was totally optional, they said, hey, can we run a little thing before the podcast that say, this is a Minute Media podcast? And we're like, sure, sounds good. So there you go. That's the whole deal. All right, and that is it for your audience questions. We're going to move on to our next section, which is trivia. And for that, we're going to turn it over to Drunk LePage.
All right. This, do we have a person, or are we looking
We
for
do
first
not have
hand
somebody
up?
in advance. So, we do have a hand up here from Mike T. Can I bring Mike T in?
Sure.
All right, there we go. So we're going to bring in Mike. Mike is going to compete for a $25 gift card at Midtown Comics.
That's right. Online.
Online. You can spend it online. So there you go. You don't have to be in person. It's a
The
online
nice
gift
option in
card.
case you're not a. Hey.
Hello, Mike. How are you?
Oh no, I
going on?
can't hear you.
Oh,
All right.
can you hear us now?
I can't hear anything. I see your mouth moving.
Oh, no. Oh, no, Mike.
Hopefully you can hear us soon.
Wait.
Why
can you-
isn't this working?
Oh, I'm not sure.
I don't know,
We
but
can-
see you. Oh, we lost him.
Oh, man. Wait, he's still on screen. He's back. Hello, Mike. Can you hear
I
us?
can't
now?
figure this out. I'm sorry, guys.
Oh, it's fine. I'm gonna kick him out.
Nice try, Mike. Sorry.
All right, it's fine. We can do it in the comments if you want.
Yeah, Mike, if you want to just comment, we can do that.
Yeah.
We're going to just type that out here.
He got it.
Oh,
okay.
he's got it. He's got it, he says.
Okay, so you want to ask the questions, Pete, and I'll answer in the comments?
Great. But it says he's got it, though, because maybe we should try to bring him in one more time. But today's trivia is on topical.
Oh, Mike works.
Okay, so why don't we try him to.
All right, we'll try it one more time. There we go. Why not? Play it loose. Absolutely.
Hey, can you hear us? Yeah, we can hear you. Can you hear us?
Can you hear us?
Why me?
All right. Well, all right. We'll just try.
We'll just do it in the comments.
Yeah, do it in the comments.
No?
Here's Mike.
This is great for the audio podcast, is maybe
Yeah.
what it is.
Sorry,
okay,
people
here we
listening.
go.
Yeah.
All right, there we go. So ask away, Pete.
Okay.
Mike
Today's
is going
trivia
to
is on
answer.
topical comic news and a small nod to the legend James Caan, R.I.P. Please listen to all three options before making your selection. All right, Mike, you're just going to type in what answer you think it is. Okay, here we go. Question number one. In the new Iron Fist, who will face Judgment Day alongside Iron Fist? Is it A, Loki, B, Red Ghost, or C, Lisa Michelle Axelrod? So it's either A, or you could be completely wrong. Ooh, A is correct. Well done, Mike. This is nice. There's no delay on it like in the YouTube. Okay. Question number two. In the Moon Knight annual coming out in October, Moon Knight faces off against blank. Is it A, a nun, B, a werewolf, or C, Bill Nunn? So it's either A, which wouldn't be that fun, or it's B, a werewolf. B is correct.
And isn't it called Werewolf by Moon Knight? No, it really is actually called that.
Oh, okay. I thought you were just doing a bit.
No, I never do bits.
Okay, the last one. Mike, in Young Hellboy, Assault on Castle Death #1, Hellboy moves to blank. Is it A, Conrad Good, B, Connecticut, or C, Conrad Bad? So B, Connecticut's the only one that's an actual place. There we go. B it is, Mike.
All
Well
right.
done.
There we go. Congratulations, Mike. You're going to get a $25 gift card to Midtown Comics. Shoot us an email at comicbookclublive@gmail.com and we'll get that off to you. And Pete, what was the secret James Caan movie that you're hinting at in your
Obviously, it
third
was the 1996 hit Bulletproof.
Wow, of all the things in James Caan's filmography, you went for Bulletproof?
That's right.
Great. Is that your favorite James Caan movie?
You got to say The Godfather. You know what I mean?
Not
But
Elf? You don't
Bulletproof-
like Elf better?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of great. I mean, I had
Well, real quick, what's a better movie, Elf or The Godfather? It's kind of a
Godfather.
toss-up, right?
No,
Oh.
it's not even close.
Well, I'll tell you what is a toss-up is all the great comics that are coming out this week. Pete, what are you looking forward to that's hitting stores?
Well, I'm glad you asked because I'm looking forward to Punisher #4, Above the Snakes #1, Wolverine #23, and of course Dark Crisis: Worlds Without a Justice League, Superman #1.
Well, I am looking forward to 8 Billion Genies #3 from Image Comics. Is the title from Charles Soule and Ryan Brown about exactly what the title says. What if everybody in the world got their own genie? It goes immediately horribly wrong, and it's been getting so creative and so weird and so interesting every issue. Really curious to see where this one's going.
Plus, what stresses me out is the population count that you get at the beginning of every issue.
You
I'm
love
like, oh,
numbers, though. It's like Spawn style, except it's a countdown for the human race.
That's right.
Very upsetting.
Yeah.
But very good book, and all of those books are going to be in the Stack podcast that drops in the Comic Book Club feed and in its own dedicated Stack feed Wednesday at 9 a.m. And folks, that is it for this week's show.
Oh.
A couple of people we want to thank. We want to thank Matthew Arnold for coming on. Check out Eat It in comic shops on July 20th. Bookstores everywhere on August 16th. They're on Comixology right now. Also, Jason Starr, The Next Time I Die is out now from Hard Case Crime. Next week on the show, Drew Gold is going to be here to talk about Motivational House Cat, starring Professor Meow Meow and the Angry Bee, and also Kenny Malone from NPR's Planet Money is going to be here to talk not just about money, but also about a comic book that he created to make money. So there you go. A couple of other podcasts that we want to plug. Let's hear it for the boys. Our boys podcast just finished up last week, finished up season 3, so check that out. Riverdale After Dark, our Riverdale podcast is going totally off the rails and posting most Mondays. Also, Marvel Vision, our Marvel podcast, will be finishing up Miss Marvel tomorrow, but you can go back and check out all the episodes for that. The Doom Room, our Doom Patrol podcast, rolling out every Thursday, or you can get every episode right now, all 34, patreon.com/Comic Book Club. Don't forget to subscribe on Apple, Android, Spotify, Stitcher, or the app of your choice at Comic Book Live on Twitter, Comic Book Club Live on Instagram, comicbookclublive.com for this podcast and many more. Until next time, good night.
Thanks, everybody. Take care of yourself out there.
Enjoy the old 70-30 vodka. Thanks all. Good night.